Anticipation of the show puts you on edge. The music shifts you, you can't get it out of your head.
Hello and welcome to FireRock Talk. I'm Tom Collier, your host, and tonight's co-host is Jason JRock Houston, and we have a very special guest from Foghat, Scott Holt. How you doing, Scott?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Great, fantastic. So let's get right into it. Your new album, the last album you guys put out was just a killer. There was a song on there, She's a Little Bit of Everything.
Yeah.
What a great groove song. Were you involved in the writing of that?
I was a part of the music making of it. Kim Simmons wrote the lyrics. He wrote 4 songs for that record for us before he passed away. And the intention was for him to play on the record. And of course, we never made it that far. But he wrote 4 really great songs and we put them all on the record and we were grateful to have them. But he gave us demos, which was basically just a him and a guitar and maybe a drum machine on some of it. I can't remember. But Roger and I kind of got together and our sort of working method is he and I start, with the drums and the guitar and we kind of hash it out. And then we start bringing the other guys in to kind of flesh out the songs.
Nice, nice. Well, Kim Simmons, I know Kim very well. He actually lived not far from me, about 30 minutes. I done
Oh,
shows
okay.
with him, yeah, I done shows with him as Savoy Brown, as Kim Simmons' band. He's a
Yeah.
great guy.
Yeah,
So
he
I-
he was a really great guy. I was glad to get to know Kim for a few years before he passed away. He was very gracious to me always. In fact, the night of my first Foghat gig, the first show that I played with Foghat, he was one of the few people that texted me and just said, "Hey man, have a good gig tonight, and just remember it's just another gig."
Yeah, what a great
Right.
guy.
That meant
So,
a lot to me.
oh yeah, he's just a all-around gentleman. I mean, I got to know him very well, and just like I say, didn't live far from me. Just a great musician, great person overall. Did a lot of stuff for the
Yeah,
community too. So
absolutely.
I got one more question for you. Foghat gonna plan? Are you guys planning on doing any more touring? Any touring in the near future?
We're not stopping touring. We tour pretty much year round.
Yep.
In fact, we're leaving Wednesday for the UK. We're doing some shows over there, and then when we get back, we've got about a month off, but it's not really off because we're working on some studio projects and some other things that we want to kind of put out next year. And next year is going to be a real busy year for us. So we're going to work on that, and then we start off the first of the year. I think our first gig is January the 9th, and we start rolling from then.
Nice, excellent. Go ahead, J-Rock. You got some questions, I'm sure.
Scott, like I was telling you before we went on there, I love, this is the latest Foghat album. It's
Thank
the
you.
very first one they've done with you. So talk a little bit about how you got the gig and what was it like joining a legendary band and going in and being part of a creative process?
Yeah, well, I got to know Roger. We had a mutual friend that introduced us back in like 2014, and they were looking for someone to sort of be an understudy for Charlie. I couldn't think of his name for a minute. For Charlie, in case he couldn't make a gig or something. And Roger and I just hit it off. We started writing songs together and really, realized we were kind of kindred spirits musically. We had a lot of the same taste in music and we're both really passionate about music and our instruments, and just I think the only person that practices more than me may be Roger. He's always banging away on his drums and I'm always playing my guitar. So we just hit it off like that. And I stayed in the camp for several years just as a writer, just helping them write songs and stuff. And I did fill in for Charlie on one gig, which was horrifying and a debacle uh, in that order. But they were nice to me anyway. So I knew they were good guys. But when Charlie decided to retire, going on 4 years ago, he he sent him an email and said I'm retiring, and we were down at the studio working on what was going to be Sonic Mojo. We didn't know what it was at that time, and I was just down there to write. And I'd gone for a walk, and I came back, and Raj was like, "I need to talk to you." and he's never said that to me before about anything. So I instantly I was scared to death. I'm like, oh no, he's going to tell me to leave or something. But he said, Charlie's leaving. Do you want to join the band? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So we stopped working on the record and started rehearsing for the tour, which was starting in 2 weeks. And I had to learn an entire show, guitar parts and lyrics and vocals and all the stuff that you have to do. And it was just like being strapped to the front of a train and saying, "Okay, here we go, boom," and you're on your run. So, but it's been just an absolute joy and a pleasure. I'm just grateful for it. It's just been a really, really cool experience.
And Scott, like you said, you had that one gig maybe that you consider was a debacle.
Oh, it
Filling in for
was. It
Charlie.
was definitely a debacle.
But I gotta say, without skipping a beat, Sonic Mojo, just from start to finish as an album, it kicks major ass, and that has to be a great feeling. Your very first album with the band, it charted as great as it did. It also, I remember, reached the top of the blues chart. You want to talk about any of
Yeah.
that?
Well, the main thing about when you're the new guy in a band and you've got your hands on their latest project, the main thing is that it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
That was my first goal is let's don't let this be the first turkey that Foghat ever puts out. It debuted at #1 on the Billboard Blues chart, stayed on the charts for 39 weeks, was at #1 for several weeks, 11, 12, something like that. And got put forth for consideration for a Grammy nomination. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on with that record, and I can't help but think that Kim's spirit probably had a lot to do with that. I know that the four of us, Roger, Brian, Rodney, and I, are really passionate about it. We loved making that record. It was one of the easiest records I've ever made. Because everybody in this band gets along. There's no egos or anything like that. Everybody's working to make this project the best that it can be and make the songs the best that they can be. And so everybody pitches in and I mean, it was just a really nice experience to be a part of.
Yeah, yeah. Take it, Tom.
Sure. So I was looking at your history. You played with Buddy Guy. I
Yeah.
mean, that's another legend. What was it like with him? I mean, incredible.
Yeah, well, Buddy was my first gig. I just started playing guitar. I'd been playing about 6 months, and my dad took me to see Buddy play with Junior Wells down in Florida, and I got to meet Buddy and talk to him. He invited me to his hotel for a guitar lesson the next day, so I went and spent about 4 or 5 hours in a hotel room with him, just playing guitars back and forth. Stayed in touch with him for the next year or so, just checking in every once in a while. Hey, how you doing? Um, Met up with him on the road a couple of times and sat in with him. And then about a year and a half after our initial meeting, he called me up and said, I'm getting ready to make a change in my band. Would you like to join the band? And I was like, absolutely. So, he said, we'll get a passport and we leave in 2 weeks. So I had a one-way ticket to Chicago. I had no idea what I was getting paid or if I was getting paid or when I was coming back or if I was coming back. And I got to Chicago. He picked me up at the airport, took me to his house, cooked supper for me, let me play some of his records. He had a great Muddy Waters box set from Japan that I was just like, that's the first place I heard Earl Hooker.
Oh,
And,
wow.
yeah, and so we, after dinner, we got in a van and went down to the club, and I loaded up in a van with a bunch of guys I'd never met, and we headed to Canada. And then from there, it just was, 10 years of just trying to figure out what was going on.
Wow, amazing. Well, 50 years, A Fool for the City.
Yeah.
What an iconic song. Can we talk about that a little bit too?
Absolutely, absolutely. Foghat fans are some of the most incredible fans I've ever been exposed to. And it's really humbling to when you talk. We get to interact with the fans a lot because we do a lot of like signings after the shows and meet and greets and stuff like that. And some of the stories that they tell you, your music got me through, this hard time in my life, or I was listening to these songs when I met my wife or my husband, or, I brought my grandkids to hear you tonight so I want them to experience it too. And you start to realize the weight of responsibility that you have for carrying this thing on. I mean, this band's it's not a tribute band. We don't just go out and play the old stuff. and I can't sound like Dave, so I'm not trying to sing like Dave or play guitar like him. Brian doesn't play like Rod. And Rodney has his own style too. He doesn't play like Craig or Tony Stevens or Nick Jameson for that matter. So, but we're a current band. I mean, Roger's still writing songs and having ideas and wanting to create new things. And that's what musicians do. So what we try to do is honor the history of the band, respect the fans. We're not going to do a reggae version of Slow Ride. They're going to hear Slow Ride the way it's supposed to be played, but we're also going to write new music and record new music. And so far, knock on wood, they've accepted the new stuff as warmly as the older stuff. So
Yeah. I'd have to say I've watched this band evolve. The new album, I love it and stuff. I've known I knew Jeff Howell when he was actually I know his wife. I just sold his wife a house in Oswego 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but just great people. So I seen you guys at New York State Fair. I live in New York.
Okay.
Foghat. I've seen Foghat multiple times and hung out with you guys. Just a great band, great guys. But I think Jason's got a couple more questions for you, so I'll let him jump.
Scott, you kind of said it all. I mean, Foghat is definitely evolved. It's not just nostalgia. You guys continue to pump out great, new music, and I kind of equivalent it to like Leonard Skinner. I mean, Leonard Skinner is a band where there's no original members left, but the band carries on in that spirit, kind of like Roger Earl's the last man standing, but he's got his new backing band of Foghat. You guys continue to play the classics and pump out new music. I just love that about it.
Well, thank you. I agree with you. I think, rock and roll is such a young genre still. I mean, we're talking about a band that's 50 years old, but rock and roll doesn't go back just a whole heck of a lot further than that. Yeah. And we're kind of still figuring out what happens as you age. I mean, now the bands are getting older. And people start to pass away or something happens, they can't do it anymore. And now we're starting to figure out, okay, well, how does this work? I mean, when one of the Rolling Stones passes away, they didn't stop. They keep going. AC/DC, Van Halen, everybody that's had a member, that either left the band or passed away. They keep going. And the reason for that, I think, for me personally, is as a musician, I can't imagine not doing what I love doing as long as I'm physically able to do it.
And that's the great thing about Foghat, because you guys are one of those bands that you could just kind of live off the greatest hits and people would still come see you, but you give the fans a little extra something by pumping out new music. And again, Sonic Mojo, the latest album, I urge people to go get this. One of the tracks I love it from top to bottom, but I know it's a cover. Let Me Love You, Baby. That's one of my favorites. And then also the one Wish I'd Been There about Hank Williams.
Yeah, Roger's brother actually wrote the lyrics to Wish I'd Been There. I don't think he saw Hank Williams, but he wrote that song and gave it to Roger years and years ago and wanted him to record it. And so when we were looking for material for this record, he pulled the lyrics out and we kind of, figured out a way to put them together in a cohesive way and make it make sense. And I like that song. It's a pretty cool song.
Oh yeah, and so Tom, I know like Scott, you're a fellow guitar player. So do you have any guitar-oriented questions you'd like to ask him about his playing?
Well, I own multiple guitars myself, absolutely. So, what is your favorite guitar to play, to record with? I play with one and I record with one. So,
well, I'm not smart enough to have. I mean, I've got multiple guitars, but I end up playing one all the time. I'm playing a G&L ASAT at the moment. Mostly Telly style guitars for the last 15 years or so. For the first 20 some years of my career, I was playing a Strat. And for the most part of that, it was a custom shop Fender that Buddy had them build for me. So that was my main guitar forever. And it's over there in the rack behind me. But I started playing this G&L and I really liked it. And I wasn't emotionally attached to it like I was the Strat. So I thought, well, if something happens to it, I can just get another one. Then I became emotionally attached to it. And then G&L's gone out of business, so you can't get another one. So it's, now it's a very precious thing to me too. So all my guitars, I'm scared to lose them. So
Absolutely. I've got the same Strat I've been playing for 41 years.
yeah,
I bought it brand new, had it modified, did new custom pickups into it and stuff like that. I also have custom made guitars. I got Les Pauls and everything, but I always go back to my red Strat. Whenever out on tour, that thing just, I love it. And I can't
yeah.
knock that tune. It's just, I can't beat it.
Once you find a guitar that speaks to you, that you're able to articulate your ideas on, I mean, there's a disease that we guitar players have, thinking, oh, gee, I need one more, I need one more, I need one more. But in reality, you're only gonna you only got two hands, so you're only gonna play one guitar at a time. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why I've been stuck with that same one. I love it. Everybody sees me says, I've seen you in 1980 with that guitar. I said, yeah, you did.
that's
Same
because it's a
guitar.
good guitar. Yeah, right,
I mean, I tour all over. I've been playing 40 years, so
right,
putting out albums and stuff, but it's just so much fun. But I say, talk about when music is evolving. I love that. I make my band. I write all the music for my band. Like I work with Ripper Owen, sings for me. I mean, the guys from Man of War, Scott Columbus drummed with me, Carl Kennedy from the Rod. So I put together a band, go out. I've never played with the same setup of guys 2 shows in a row.
right, right.
Never. Now, does that sound crazy? I can be in California one night, New York the next night, Florida, and I never have the same set of guys because I have to
Well,
call in friends, say, we all just meet. Here's what we're playing. Here's the set list.
yeah, yeah. Well, my solo career between Buddy and Foghat, I had about a 15-year solo career, and it was a lot of club gigs and stuff like that. We traveled all over the country, but it's like you said, you grab the musicians that you can grab that are willing to do it. And I think I probably burned out a lot of musicians because, after a while of getting banged around in a van, you're like, okay, that's enough of this. But I was always lucky to have great musicians to play with, and it just everybody in my world has allowed me to do what I love doing, and I'm grateful to all of them for that.
And I think the key to great music is having great musicians and play. I play with musicians that are much better than me,
Oh
so
yeah,
it rise to that occasion. So
yeah,
I
you
mean,
have to. You have to. I mean, if you're the best guy on stage, you're not learning anything, and you're not growing. You're just, you know, I don't ever want to be the best one on stage. I want to try to be the best one on stage. I want to make you think I'm the best one on
Yeah,
stage.
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to be the best one.
absolutely. So one more question for me, and I'm gonna throw it back to Jason. What is like one of your favorite all-time songs to play a Foghat? And
Oh, that's a good
it could be an
question.
obscure song. It could be even if you're not playing it on stage. I'm just talking about your personal favorite.
I think my favorite song that we play, I've got so many of them. I like Home in My Hand. For some reason, I just enjoy playing that song. It's just fun to play. It's fun to sing. Um, I like doing Hurts Me Too. I like all the blues stuff. I like doing Hurts Me Too because our manager gives me the most compliments on how I sing it. So anybody that brags on you, it's like getting scratched behind your ear if you're a dog. You're like, oh, I like that. Um, but yeah, watching all the cell phones come out when we start playing Slow Ride. Um, you know, Slow Ride in this band is like it's like that Christmas song with that 5 gold rings. That's when everybody sings. It's like
Yeah.
everybody comes out of the woodwork when we start playing that song. So, but I mean, they're all fun and they're all pieces of history or even the new stuff. I can think back to when we were recording it I have good feelings about all of them. So yeah, it'd be hard to pick one that I don't like playing.
Excellent. Go ahead, Jason.
In regards to being a solo artist, I wasn't aware of that, Scott. Did you ever release any solo material? If anybody wanted to check that out, some albums?
Yeah, I put out 7 records on my own. I don't know if any of them are still in print.
Okay, yeah.
My mother has a copy of all of them.
Yeah, there you go.
But the last one I put out was in I think 2011. It was called Kudzu, and
Hey,
they pop up on
YouTube.
yeah, you can get them on YouTube or you can find them on Amazon. But I haven't had any of them to sell in a long time.
Okay, okay. Talking about the 50th anniversary of Fool for the City, I got the anniversary edition, and
Nice,
and they put out like a cool like little second disc of a great live concert.
right?
Now, I understand that you also work with Willie Dixon. For people who don't know, of course, Foghat did the great cover of "All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You."
Right.
Really put their stamp on it because people think of that much as a much more of a Foghat song, and they're surprised to learn it's actually a Willie Dixon song.
Yeah, well, coming from the Buddy Guy school, I knew I just want to make love to you my whole life, basically. And then honestly, I don't know that I'd ever heard Foghat's version when I got in the band. And so trying to unlearn the way I've played it for
Yeah,
25 years and play it this different way. But yeah, they and Foghat's done that with everything that they've covered. We go back, and Roger and I have talked about that. You go back through the list of songs that they've covered, and they never just did just a copy of a song. They would make it their own, and I always respected them for that because
In fact, I gotta say, on that note, one of the greatest covers that I really love by Foghat that never really got the attention I thought it should have is they do a great cover of "That'll Be the Day That I Die," of course, by Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
And then also another one that's on "Fool for the City." I didn't realize it was a cover because they did such a great spin of it. "Teleplane Blues" is actually a Robert Johnson tune.
Yeah.
And I was reading about that because to me, Foghat really rocked it up and really put their stamp on it. And I'm surprised they didn't have a bigger hit with it. But actually, it said Robert Johnson's version of the song, which I think came out in 1939. That was the biggest hit of his career.
Exactly. That was his only hit. And being the blues guy, that there again, I knew the Robert Johnson version, but I wasn't familiar with the Foghat version. So there was a lot of learning, but the blues was always where we would find the common ground the fastest. It Hurts Me Too. I learned it from Junior Wells, and I think they probably learned their version from Elmore James, who I think had the first original cut on it. But that all the blues stuff is kind of like that's home to me, so that's sort of the comfortable area for me.
Yeah, that's kind of funny to hear, Scott. You say that until you joined Foghat, you weren't aware of their version of "All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You," because next to "Slow Ride," that's probably the band's biggest hit.
I know it. Well, "Fool for the City" was a big hit for him.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was I don't know what the answer to that was, but there was a lot of material. I mean, Sonic Mojo was their 17th album, so you got 16 albums that I hadn't been exposed to every song on every album, so there was a lot of learning curve when I first started.
And before I throw it back to Tom, I just want to say, in regards to Sonic Mojo, I really urge people to check that out, not just because it's the latest Foghat album. It's the first one to feature you, Scott, and they'll be pleasantly surprised, like I was. But just overall, from top to bottom, kick-ass. It's not like a bad tune on the whole album. I think anytime you change the lineup, especially the lead singer, you don't know how people are going to react, and people gave it the thumbs up.
Yeah, I was fully prepared for a lot of hate mail.
Thank God it didn't go that way. Huh?
But I mean, you're not going to make everybody happy, and my hope was that I would just make more people happy than not, and so we've been really blessed. I mean, I haven't gotten a lot of pushback.
That's
Occasionally,
good.
I'll see something before the manager has a chance to take it off the internet, but you. I've always had this philosophy: if you're gonna listen to critics, if you're gonna believe the good stuff they say about you, you have to believe the bad stuff too. And I'm not gonna believe either one of them. So I know the reality. I'm not the greatest guitar player in the world, but I'm also not the worst either. So
yeah. Take away, Tom.
So we're down to about 5 minutes here we got left for the show, but I just want to talk about what's up and coming. I know you said you're doing a new album possibly, and when would you guys expect to get that? Because I'm sure that all our listeners would love to hear about this.
Yeah, we've been in the studio working on a new studio record. We also spent all last year recording our shows to put together a live record. We've also decided to go in and cut a couple of things that we're going to release as singles. There's pretty much going to be something happening all year long next year if the plan stays like it is. Our manager is she's worked really hard to get some momentum going, which was what happened with Sonic Mojo, and she doesn't really want to take her foot off the gas now that we've got something rolling. So there's a lot of product coming out, and of course, like I said, we're going to be touring. We start touring the 1st of January, and we'll be out all year. So
Exciting
Oh, wow.
times. I'm sure the Foghat fans are really going to love this because, like I say, I've watched your music evolve so much in this last album. I thought, wow, how could they continue just to keep going and evolving?
yeah,
That shows true musicianship. But one last thing I just want to ask you about. You
okay.
said you're going to Europe. Are you going to be in Europe tour date? Do you want to
We
just tell
leave.
the people where the tour dates? Because our show goes over Europe, goes all over.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We leave for the UK on Wednesday. The first show I think is Friday in Yarmouth. Um, I'm not sure of the venues. I know we're playing. The next show is in London at Shepherd's Bush, um, which I have fond memories of. I played there with Buddy back in the day. And then the last show is in Manchester.
excellent, excellent. Well, Scott, thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll try to get this out Tuesday for you guys. We really
Awesome.
appreciate it. Best of luck, man. Can't wait for the new album too.
Tom, thank you very much. Jason, thank you too,
Thanks
man.
again.
Thank y'all for taking the time.
Yep. Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
All right, man.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The music is blasting. The crowd comes alive. The feelings of anger